to the PULSEcast, the #1 youth ministry podcast for the Uniting Church in Australia. This episode is recorded on the land of the Barramadigal people of the Darug Nation. Sovereignty was never ceded, and we pay respect to the elders past and present and seek to grow deeper relationship with all their emerging elders. Friends, we are back.
Hello. Let's go, we're back.
Alive and kicking it. Look, it's the Pulse team, Joe and Joyce and Offa. Hey team, welcome.
Hello.
It's the end of season 1.
How did we manage that?
Already.
That's just all too
It went so fast.
freaky.
The logistic part of my
so
brain says I
fast.
don't know how we got here.
I may have been away for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Apart from that, feels like only 5 episodes.
How did we get here? Who even knows what that is? Now, across this season, we've talked about a whole bunch of stuff. We've been very fortunate to have some great guests to come and talk, particularly when we lent into the 3 specific areas of ministry with young people. We've been fortunate to speak with both the outgoing moderator, Reverend Simon Hansford, and the incoming moderator-elect, about to become moderator, Reverend Mata Have Heliao.
Awesome.
Phenomenal
Conversation,
stories.
So great.
So good to hear from them, both in a kind of retrospective context as much as hopes for the future context from both of them. And I'm really, if you haven't listened again, stop, go back. It's last week and 3 weeks ago, blah. We also talked about growing young. Really just scraped the circus. Circus? It is a circus. Scraped the surface.
The surface of the circuit.
Oh.
Circus.
On what growing young is about. And please, if it interested you at all, contact us. Hit up any, we'd love to come, even just have the conversation and explain deeper what growing young is about and how your congregation or your presbytery or your group of people can start to investigate what it might mean for them.
So good.
And that stuff is super important. I agree, Joyce. So good. Because this is our last episode, I thought, let's take a little bit of a shiver.
Yes.
Yeah, it is the depth of winter in this year of our Lord 2023, so we can push through this, but it is cold. I thought that we would take the opportunity to start to think about, so where to from here? Like we haven't gone deep, and in future seasons we will go much deeper when we talk about ministry with young people in various facets and ways and ideas. We haven't given any of the answers really, and that's a positive thing because we want to start to encourage people who are listening to do some of their own thinking, because person in congregation A is different to congregation B, different contexts, different skills, different people, start to lean into that stuff. But for us, I think knowing where we came from and the stuff we've talked about, we have to now start to go, so what's next? What is happening from Pulse's perspective in the coming, let's say, 12 to 18 months. So getting us through to the end of 24. Some of this conversation is factual, i.e. we've booked things and we know we'll talk about what that's going to look like. Some of it represents things that we're starting to hear or stuff that we're starting to read about, and that's still fine to talk about it in that context as well. And also a little bit of our dreams. What do we want to see happen? What are our hopes about the way that we can engage in that stuff? Are we happy to have that as our conversation for this wonderful episode?
Sounds great.
Great. Well, friends, I'm going to say to you, let's just get the easy stuff out of the way. Functionally, when we start to talk about what it looks like for Pulse for the rest of 23 and into 24, what have we got going on? What's coming up? And I'll offer, it's not a Pulse thing, just to kick off tonight even, the day that we're delivering this episode, the School of Discipleship is happening.
Woohoo!
It's in its like 1,000,000th year, I think.
Yes.
And we're really excited. The Pulse team will be attending and being a part of that, and we're really stoked to be there. That's going to be awesome. If you are listening to this on Friday, the 30th of June, there is literally still time for you to attend. If you are not, maybe you've missed the boat. But it's happening at the Centre for Ministry in North Parramatta. Come along, we can organise the rego stuff when you get here, all of those sorts of things. Yep. Beyond that, there's like live stream stuff you'll be able to catch up on and see. It's a great conversation talking about how do we engage in a reality that is our world when we acknowledge that there are people that are in slavery still. What sort of justice kind of speaks into those situations? The 2 key speakers are Dr. Sati Clark, who comes out of the US by way of, I'm going to say, I think it's Sri Lanka. I apologise if I've given him the wrong home country. Most recently in Washington, he's going to be actually teaching at the United Theological College from semester 2.
Wonderful.
So he's top
really
notch.
Exciting.
And John Owen, currently pastor, I think aiming towards ordination.
I think he
He's
has
ordained.
already been ordained.
Yeah, he's ordained.
Then he is, and it's Reverend John Owen
Yes,
that he
it
doesn't
is.
like to talk about. So Reverend John Owen, good work, who is the minister, lead guy at Wayside Chapel. And that in itself is an incredible ministry
exciting.
that is all about justice and all about
Yes.
engaging with people that don't have heaps or have been marginalised. So those two speakers will be phenomenal to engage in great worship, great small group conversation. It is an affirming gathering of young adults, but in the biggest sense. So that's really great. We'll talk to you more about SOD. We don't run it. We're just happy to be there and support it.
Yep.
Beyond SOD, what else is coming up in the Pulse calendar, friends?
In a mere 13 weeks.
I know.
There's something very exciting happening.
15 weeks.
What is it, Offa?
Is it 13? Oh my God, math.
From when this
isn't-
podcast is being heard.
13. You're
Now we've just
correct.
ruined the
My
whole illusion.
math.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, trust me, it's my math, guys. Oh, horrible.
We're with you. Go.
We have UIC, our Uniting Youth Camp, second year running it
What?
because COVID. But super excited for it. We're
Yeah.
in the
So
depths
exciting.
of planning, have a great leadership team, a great bunch of young adults who are helping out into making this a great reality for our youth, our
Yep.
high schoolers. Yeah, what else do you want to know about it?
So-
And we're also making sure
Where?
that we are getting as many young people there
Yes.
as we can this year.
Yes.
So young
So
people, like
keen,
what
so
ages?
keen.
Who's our target
So
audience?
year 7 to year 11s are our target audience. Year 12s, you're not excluded, but HSC is like literally around the corner.
The next week.
So you might want to be studying. This is not a study camp. If you want to come, you're not studying. You're having fun.
Yep.
But you might want to study and stay home.
Yes.
Youth leaders, young adults are encouraged to come and join, to
Yes.
lead these young people during the camp. There's a whole bunch of responsibilities and stuff to be done. And let us share the load
Yeah,
in ministry
absolutely.
with these young people.
Big time fun. What are the dates and where will it be?
Yes.
So the dates are second week of school holiday, Tuesday the 3rd of October to Friday the 6th of October.
Excellent.
And
Monday's public holiday, isn't it?
Monday
Yeah.
is a public holiday. And we are excitedly having this year's camp at the Coleroy Centre right across from the beach
Is it in Coleroy?
in Coleroy
love the
in New South
beach.
Wales, Australia.
Amazing. So it's high school is grade 7 to 11.
Yeah.
It's in Coleroy.
Yeah.
What's the theme? What can we? What's the theme? And what can young people expect that maybe
Drum
haven't
roll. Maybe
come?
you can edit this in post. Drum roll.
Look at my hands.
Our
There we
theme this
go.
year is
I'm not doing extra work.
Sound effect machine, don't we?
That's my team. That's this year's theme. And we're looking at belonging. Different groups you belong to, different groups, different places that young people feel where they belong, and how we all
Yep.
belong to God.
So exciting.
As you can tell by the excitement in Offa's voice /
phenomenal.
on her face if you're watching,
I'm pumped.
she is super excited, and we all are. It's going to be so great.
Bit excited, yes.
So
Very
exciting.
excited.
Speaker?
Our speaker this year is the wonderful Reverend Fa Matangi. She's up from Queensland.
Ooh,
Excited to
she's
have her down.
awesome.
Yes.
If you were at
Very
NCYC
excited.
a while ago,
Or
she was the glitter
NYALC.
bomb queen.
Guys, Fa is phenomenal. I'm
Phenomenal.
so-
Yeah,
She's
there we go.
phenomenal.
We were
Oh my
doing
God, I
that.
didn't even-
That was a thing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, she's
Great.
great. So excited to
Awesome.
have her.
Now, registrations are about to open. Well, we'll probably just open
Yeah,
when
they've
we
probably
are
just
talking about
opened,
this. How do people register? What's the URL? Can I help?
Yes, please.
So it's pulse.uca.org.au/UYC.
for Uniting Youth Camp.
And
That
it's
will-
UYC,
Yes,
not
Uniting
UIC.
Youth
Yeah.
Camp.
Yes, UYC Uniting Youth Camp. And that
Like
will take you to
YMCA.
our Eventbrite page. So
Yes.
it's a shortcut to take you there to register.
Yeah.
How much can I expect to pay offer?
So we are having early bird prices for $310. I know it's a bit expensive, but we don't want finances to be an issue. So always come talk to Pulse if
Yes.
that's going to be a problem. Early bird ends on the 14th of August.
Right?
So time is limited.
Get in.
Get in now.
Come on.
And then after that, normal prices are $360 and registrations will close on the 18th of September.
Great.
There are also additional sibling costs if your family has more than
Multiple,
one child
yes.
that wants to come to camp. That's at $310 as well.
Again, just reach
for
out to Pulse and we can help make all of those things happen.
Yeah.
We're looking at trying to incentivise youth groups
Yep.
to come together and do those sorts of things. So those things, the absolute underline though is don't let money be the barrier
Yeah.
to attend.
We're happy to
Can
help
I ask a question here?
Please.
this conversation.
For those of us who are listening / watching who are not in year 7 to 11 and or don't have children in that age group, how can they help? Is there a send a kid to camp fund?
Oh.
If only there was, Joe Drayton, and conveniently there is.
Oh, how fantastic.
So
What
there
a
is-
surprise.
Tell us more.
There is the capacity
Yes.
for congregations or individuals to make a donation. Whether they want to come up with the full amount, 310 for an early bird, 360 for full price, or a portion therein, that we can then use to help send a kid to camp. Again, reach out to Pulse and we can give you those bank details so that you can make a donation. It doesn't have like tax-free status at this point. I don't think it ever will, but certainly anyone that wants to be engaged in physically, financially supporting UIC, that is super awesome and super helpful. Also, friends who love Jesus, pray. Please pray for us. Please pray with us. There's all sorts of stuff, as you can
We
imagine.
so need prayer warriors
Yeah.
on this journey.
When we
definitely.
gather a whole bunch of young people and their leaders together, there's so much that can go on around that we would need, care, that we would want to have the Holy Spirit involved, not just from a protective point of view, but also from a deep impact point of view that allows God to break through some of those wonderful barriers that teenagers put up, that says, I'm super strong and I can deal with everything. And actually, God will minister to us and speak to us. So we want people to pray with us as well. So yes, you can send your monies. That will
Amazing.
help get people there. Yes, also please pray with us. That will then make sure that, in that glorious way that God works, people are there and that they're having an amazing time engaging with God. They're two really good ways, I reckon.
Fantastic.
Send a kid to camp, do those sorts of things.
Fantastic.
Is there anything else we need to know about UIC? Joyce, do you have something to add?
I just wanted to say, if those that are listening, and there might be some churches that may need the Pulse team to come out to your congregation, just give a plug or come to your church council and be like, come and join us.
Yes.
Let us know. Like, just contact us if there's any other ways that we can support more young people to come
and
to
help
this camp.
encourage, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be super exciting. We don't want anyone to miss out.
Yeah. And look, a great energy coming out of last year's first camp. And we already are expecting like heaps more young people and leaders to come. And we want to try and grow that and encourage that. Absolutely. Sorry. Thank you, Joyce. Offa, did you want to throw final moments?
No.
Great. So it's just going to be a great time.
Come.
Should be great.
Come, have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Do all of those sorts of things.
Sorry.
Look, it should be phenomenal.
3 to 6 October.
3rd to the 6th of October.
Amazing.
Tuesday, Friday,
So
Collaroy.
keen.
Be there.
Woo.
Or be square.
Yeah, and correct, Joyce, we're happy to advocate on behalf of either young people or youth leaders, those sorts of things. And if you are on a church council and you're listening to this, we'd love to come and talk to you about great ways to support, practical ways to support
Yes, absolutely.
as church councils in those
Absolutely.
situations.
Yeah.
So that's October. Without getting ourselves muddled in our calendar, only a few weeks before that
Oh, right.
is this really huge things that happened within the life of our movement in the New South Wales ACT Synod called Synod in Session, where the church gets together. And, if I say it at its most bland, has a lot of meetings, has a big meeting where we talk about stuff. It's actually heaps better than that. There's opportunity for worship, there's community, fellowship, relationship development. Yes, we do talk about big things in a meeting context. However, the intention absolutely is to say, where is God taking us? What is God
Direction
calling us
100%.
forward and
Yep.
towards? So Synod in Session is phenomenal. It is going to be a Friday to Sunday experience this time with a nice little pin on the front of it. Mata, who we talked to the other week, her induction as the moderator happens on the Thursday night just before Synod happens.
Yes.
Now, the dates for Synod, I cannot remember off the top of my
14th
head.
to 17th
September.
of September.
Middle of September, there you go. So the 14th is the Thursday night. 15th, 16th, 17th is the event. It's happening at the Katoomba Convention Centre up in Le Bleu Mountains, and it's called blue because that's how the colour you will be,
It's just a little
even though
cold.
it's September.
It'll be springtime.
It's a little cold.
That's right. It'll be nice and wonderful during the day and freezing at night.
It's such a nice drive up there.
It
Just
is.
quietly.
You
Just
can
did
buy
that.
Ugg boots on the way up, even.
There you go. There you go.
So now, because we appreciate, for high schoolers, that's tough to make because there's a day off school you might need to deal with and those sorts of things. And also, business meetings can seem a bit dry.
It's not the most interesting. for young
very fair.
people.
We are
youth.
the Pulse team are actively looking for particularly young adults. So having left high school up to about the age of 30 to come and participate as members, which gives you
Absolutely.
full rights to participate in those conversations, ask questions, be engaged in the stuff, and ultimately, I'll say vote. That's not how we work, but, you know,
Participate in the discernment
the decision
process, and the
correct.
outcome.
Yes. So we want to have like a whole bunch. Our aim at this point is to get about 40 young adults to be there and be a part of it. We've got some, not 40.
We don't. But we are hoping for that membership. There will be mentors. We'll make
Yes.
sure that everybody has a mentor. Almost forgot what I was going to say. We're going to make sure that people are well supported
Yes.
in the process of learning
Please.
about Synod and engaging in this business of Synod.
So there'd be some prep work, Joe, that the Pulse team would be keen to encourage them in
Absolutely.
as well.
Yay.
Yeah. We'll be right there beside you. Don't
Well, yes,
panic.
so, yes.
And the mentoring thing, sorry, that's really important. What does that kind of stuff look like if I'm coming as a
We'd
young
be
adult?
at tables together. We'd have conversations before the meeting about what's in the papers, what some
Sure.
of the proposals are, what a proposal is, how we discuss the proposal,
Yes.
what's the discernment process. We'd be talking about the way that decisions are made through a consensus process. That's a tricky concept to grasp. We'd do some work beforehand, just some hanging out beforehand, and then we'd be at tables with you, and
Yeah.
we'd allocate other mentors
In and amongst,
that
meeting
will
itself.
work with 2 or 3 of you to make sure that you're understanding what's going on
Yes.
and staying awake.
And providing you with sugar and coffee.
And providing you with
Yes.
lollies and all sorts of brightly coloured things to do. And
Warm
play with.
drinks to stay warm.
All of the things. Oh, and cool drinks if
awake.
you want to get cool. The other part of that really is the acknowledgement that we also want to have that group of young people recognise, gather within themselves as a cohort.
Yes.
To build relationship with each other. Because while people will know some, and there are, God bless us, church nerds like myself that will know a few people, we want everybody to kind of know everybody better
Yes.
by the end of that time together. So good mentoring builds great relationships generationally,
Yes.
as much as the relationships within the cohort together and the
And
creative
the best
stuff, the
experience
amazing
for everybody,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
getting the most out of that important work and being a part of the decision making and
Yeah,
part
that's
of the
what-
discussion.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's really important for young people to also have their voice heard at Synod.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like my first
Yes.
experience of Synod in 2019 was very intimidating, but I spoke as well for the first time because climate change is something that's super close to me, like to my heart. And some of the things said by other people and other perspectives, I was like, wait, but you're forgetting about a whole bunch of young people who are really worried about these, a whole bunch of islanders and Indigenous people who are worried about these.
Yep.
And so have your voices be heard if no one else is going to say it. So encouraging you guys to come along.
And good to have someone sitting beside you who is encouraging you
Yeah.
and giving you some words and ways to do things.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, Joyce.
No. At our the synod that 2019 was
Yeah,
our last
yeah.
face to face.
Yep.
We came as young people, Off and I.
Yeah.
It was such a great space to be sitting together, having a few mentors on our table to be like, so what does this mean?
Yeah.
What does this mean?
What are they actually
What are they
saying?
actually saying?
Yeah.
So I think there's pockets of hope when we sit together, but the relationships that we build by the coffee cart and at night and, when we're just lazing around during lunchtime, special moments happen.
For sure. And it is
Special
a
moments happen.
busy time. There's heaps planned
Yes.
for this synod. Great
Lots of reading.
speakers. A guy called Mark McCrindle, who is a demographer and social researcher, got heaps of information to come and share with us and talk about Generation Alpha.
I believe he's coined the phrase Generation
Yeah,
Alpha.
he and his team are responsible for
he's
that.
a little bit of an expert in this field.
Kind of knows
which
what's going on.
We've intentionally brought into Synod this year to, for us.
But vital to
It's
speak
about
to the
the-
church about this coming
Yeah.
generation, who they are, what fires them up, what turns them off.
Absolutely.
Just in a functional context. And what does then that mean for us to be in mission with them? So super excellent. We've also got Rachel Perkins, who is an Indigenous performer, director, film writer. She's coming to talk to us about the upcoming referendum around including and the development of the Indigenous voice to Parliament. So that'll be great to hear from Rachel.
Yes.
and get some, I believe, Q&A opportunity to be able to ask questions of her. And, of course, people like Nathan Tyson, who works within the Synod,
100%.
will be deep in a part of that, as well as the full width and depth of Synod workers like the Pulse team will all be there, plus a whole bunch of other really smart people and engaged people. It's a great place to be. Intimidating.
There's new music being
But great.
launched. There's
Yes.
New,
Yeah.
new
Oh,
worship
yeah.
music being launched as part of the whole program.
That's right.
That's
on
so
the
exciting.
floor.
Yep.
So there is and there are other things that we're trying to get squeezed into the tight agenda,
Yeah.
which we won't announce because
Till it's approved. Yeah, we just got to make
we
sure
can't
it's a
do
thing.
that. But we're trying to gear it so that it's really appropriate for young adults and
Watch this space, basically.
watch this
Yeah.
space. Exactly.
The
and
key
as soon as we
takeaway.
can, we will be
The key takeaway is that we want young adults to come. If you
Yes.
have not, and look, given who we've seen on the list, most of you haven't. If you've not heard about Synod,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear from you. We want to talk to you about it. You know,
And let your
there's
voice
a
be
hit
heard
list.
Yeah.
in the church of the future.
This is the critical thing. It is not about saying that young people are the church of the future. It's they are in the church now, and we want to help them
Yeah.
have a voice as much as we need to encourage young people to help guide the church, to bring their view and their vision and their understanding along with all of these wonderful old people.
Be the church of the now.
That's right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
being now means we need to hear from
So
everybody.
good.
Yeah, it's super vital. So big things already. UIC, Synod in session, like just so much happening.
Post editing. Gonna put up all the promo for it as we're saying
Yeah.
things, right, Molk?
No, but sure. Don't hit them. Seriously. What, this is a shambles. Can you tell that we've done this 9 times
So
already?
in November, what's happening? I'll tell you.
What's
Oh, yeah,
happening in
tell us.
November?
Where we were getting to?
Ooh,
Yes,
tell
Vivian.
us, Joe.
Okay.
Tell us
in
what's happening
November. In November, we are running an intensive through UTC, through the college,
Yes.
which is the youth culture and mission subject. It's a 5-day intensive from the 13th to the 17th of November, and it's open for enrolment now.
So big questions. Is it an undergrad subject if I'm studying a BTH, Joe?
Yes, it is. And it's also,
Through CSU?
yes, through CSU. You can do it for audit, and
Yes.
you can do it as part of a certificate, a diploma, or
If I'm doing for audit, does it mean I have to write assignments?
you don't have to. Audit is to listen.
Yeah, but you don't get
To
credit
listen
for it,
and
is the
learn.
You
catch,
don't get
right?
credit, but
Yeah.
you can be part of the wisdom that will be coming forth.
So good.
Phenomenal.
And the learning. Is anyone here doing it, do you think?
At least 2
My
of
hand
us.
is raised.
Joyce
There's a few of us. I'll be there for part of it at least. We all got stuff going on. And it's going to be phenomenal. Do we know who's leading that course,
Not
Joe?
confirmed yet. There's 3 people vying for that. So
Vying
they'll
for it?
They'll possibly
Competing.
They will probably all be teaching components of it.
Great.
Nice.
That'll be nailed down in the next
Yes.
week or 2.
It's
be
a
a great
really
week.
that's a really great opportunity if you are engaged in mission and ministry, particularly with youth and or young adults.
Absolutely.
This as a pigeon pair works in with the course that we ran last year. Sorry, that UTC
will run
ran last
again.
year. That will become part of its regular cycle. That
Yep.
was focused on children and their families. This is the youth young adult component. And it does speak a lot around popular culture, around generation demography and those sorts of things, as much as engaging in practical mission activities, discipleship, some good theological foundational stuff that gets you into why do we want to be a part of this? What does this look like? Young people are lovely. We love them to bits. We've talked about this before. Teenagers are an interesting crew and young adults by the same mix. So helping get some academic runs on the board around that is going to be really helpful to some people. And certainly from Pulse's perspective, what we want to encourage for any kind of roles that start to pop up that we would want to have people engaged in these subjects because, and as someone, look, I'm an old man that has come to academic study again late in my life, the stuff that you learn from these things and then the application of that stuff.
Invaluable.
Absolutely
So
incredible,
good.
life-changing, super, super good. So that's called Culture, what is it?
I had
Youth Culture and Mission?
Yes.
Yeah, it's called Youth Culture and Mission.
Great.
Intensive Youth Culture and Mission with UTC.
So,
And that's the 13th to the 17th of November.
Joyce,
No, and it sounds like we're not going to have just the one lecturer. It's going to be
Lots of people.
lots of people coming through with amazing
Wisdom.
experiences.
Yes.
Bevy
So keen
of
for that.
wisdom.
Keen for that.
yes. If you want to audit it, it's actually really simple. You, again, for all of this, you can contact the Pulse team. We might redirect you to the right person.
Yeah.
There is, within the Centre for Ministry, the administrators that look after all of the CSU enrolment stuff, they can help you with the audit stuff really easy because it's literally just sign up, costs you a little bit of money, done. if you want to do it as a subject for a grad cert or a cert or whatever, or your full undergrad degree, you need to reach out ASAP because the semester is a sniff away.
Yep.
And you'll need, even though it's way out in November, you need to be
Registration
enrolled
enrollment. Yeah, that's right.
like by the middle of July, late July, early August, because that's when the census date is, and
Yeah.
that's when all of the HEX fee bit kicks in if you're not
There will
paying
be
it up front.
much promo about it.
Yeah, there will be. It's just an important that there's an earlier date for that. If you're auditing, it's a little bit more flexible.
Yeah.
But so we need you to get to reach out and sign up for that if you want, and we would encourage you to be a part of that. Definitely do that. Spinning around all of this, continuing some of the great stuff that happens in young adult ministry within the Synod, we're going to have at least a couple more young adult gatherings pushing through this second half of the year, as well as then some preparation for two big events. One that is not regular.
Christmas.
Woo, Christmas!
Something baby Jesus. Great. I mean, be involved in however you want to celebrate that.
Holly Box.
Yes, the singing.
My 50th birthday, but let's not lean into that too much.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
How
We
could
forget.
we
How could we
forget?
forget?
How could we forget?
But it's
He
a big
won't
one.
let us forget.
It is a big one this year for us.
Nice.
Early, date to be confirmed, but late January, thinking around the day of Australia's invasion / Australia Day. A thing called NYALC, National Young Adult Leaders Conference. Now, this is put on by the president, the national sort of head of the Uniting Church, in this case, Reverend Sharon Hollis. Big plans for this. I believe it's going to be held in Vic Tas Synod down near Melbourne, around that sort of area. Lots of good ideas. If you're a young adult that was hoping to go at the start of this year, as soon as we have all of the full details, we'll be reaching out to you
emailing you
and
directly.
publicising
Yeah.
it widely. We
Yeah.
want to send a huge cohort, as many as
Yeah.
we're allowed to send to this. It is an excellent time again
Yeah.
to gather with young adults who are pumped about Jesus, who want to get engaged in some of that bigger conversation, because this is
Find out what's going on all around the country.
bingo.
Yeah.
Direct
Yeah.
access to people around the country engaged in either in ministry or just living life as someone who loves Jesus, and also sitting in conversation with the leaders of the United Church. So the moderator's all turn up.
Oh my gosh.
The
Yes.
the president is there. The president's hosting it. So those kinds of opportunities, outrageous. Do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there will be a limit in the 2024 version as there was expected to be in the 23. As I said, details to come. We just want to fill all of the slots that are allocated to our Synod because we have so many incredible young people, young adults
yeah.
that can be at that. And it is
Yeah.
intentionally about developing you as a leader within our faith movement that is the Uniting Church. So be prepared. It's not work, it's fun, but you'll learn things. That's the challenging part about all of it.
And also the those that come to NYALC, my
Yes.
experience, it was my first gig as the Pulse person.
Oh, it was.
The Pulse team and the moderator, who Reverend Mata Hiliao, we literally walk alongside
Yes.
our young people of our synod. So
Yeah.
definitely one of the biggest highlights of my Pulse life. So NYALC is a great space to be together with other young adults.
Brilliant.
What was your experience, Offa?
Did you remember that offer?
Yes.
Did I walk alongside you?
Joyce, it was the first time I was like, oh my gosh, who's this? NYALC is such an amazing experience. I think especially as a young leader, it really helped form part of my leadership.
Yeah.
Right.
That kind of actually led me to this role. So
Wow.
shout out NYALC.
Full circles.
Yeah, it's been one of those points, and I really encourage young adults, young leaders to come along. It's such a great experience that is really hard to get anywhere else.
Yes.
Yeah, and just a great place to network and connect with other young people.
Yeah. A photo popped up in my photo feed the other day of all of the people who were in leadership in ministry with youth, young adults that were attending NYALC. And I think, Joyce, you and I are the only ones that are left.
Whoa.
There we go.
There was like 6 people, 7 people
So
in the photo.
I'm an oldie now.
Yeah, so old school, mate. Keep that
I
going.
know how I feel.
That said, there are some new people that have popped up in that space
Yeah.
with some
Oh,
leaders.
super exciting.
Yeah, it's really
super
exciting.
exciting.
We had such fun at the last one when it was hosted by then President Deirdre Palmer.
Yes.
Reverend Sharon Hollis will host this one, and we know that Reverend Carissa Sully, who is the President-elect, next year will become the President, has big plans for NYALC as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
Exciting
super
stuff.
great. Fresh off the back of that, if you can't, don't want to, whatever, get to NYALC. Retreat Yourself will be upon us in a sniff, friends. The first weekend of February 2024. We're going back to Gerringong. We had such a great time.
Great location.
Yeah.
And it's going to be that and more. So we're going to have so much fun, and we would want to encourage all of the young adults within, we've got young adults that come down from, where is it, Dubbo, across from Canberra.
Shout out, Charles.
Right? Shout out to Charles. Shout out to Riley, who came from Canberra. Like, from everywhere. And we're just keen to see them all come along and be a part of it. So,
Fantastic.
Again, by the beach.
heaps more detail to
we love the
come. It's later. Like, don't worry about it. It is a super way to start the year. If you're thinking, how can I just sort of, I've had holidays and I just want to get, think I'm ready to fire up with Jesus, retreat yourself.
So great.
It's a great way to be a part of it and those sorts of things. Now, we almost get to be full circle then, but I know that between retreat yourself and this time in 24, we have at least one other massive thing coming, Joyce, don't we?
Kids camp out. So much fun.
We had a great episode.
So much energy.
Speaking with Nikita and Gibbo about their reflection. Sorry, Nicole.
All good.
Yeah. Nicole and Gibbo talking about their reflections on KCO this year.
Yeah.
Again, it's early days, but we know that KCO is coming. Is there any kind of sizzly tidbit you can give us about KCO 24?
Oh my gosh, save the date, everyone. Kids camp out is in April next year. And it's... we had so much fun this year.
Yeah.
We just want to pack out the place. It's a space for families, church communities, Sunday schools. We had we had some love from Taramara Uniting Church through screens. This next year, we're hoping big things. So it's super exciting, in person. Music, fun, laughter, the OG swimming pool, even if it's cold. But it's just such a wonderful space for the church together.
Yes.
So, add that also into your diaries with all our awesome dates coming up.
And we will publish our 2024 calendar sort of term in Q3.
Yes.
So that if you're planning your youth group, small group people activities or whatever it is, you'll have those dates then ready to go. You can take them as almost nearly but not quite gospel. There's just heaps of stuff going on, and that's just the stuff that we know that we can officially tell you about. We have lots of big plans and lots of stuff that we're looking forward to kicking off in 24.
More work on growing young, more work on all the things we've talked about.
More podcasts, whether you like it or not. Just so much stuff coming down your way. Friends, so that we don't make this the 17-hour-long podcast, which it well could be, I want to give you this as our final question for this episode of this season. We've talked a lot about what's going on. We've talked a lot about even what's to come from a functional, practical view. I want to ask each of you, in the near to growing future, what is it that you hope for in your specific ministry area? Team leader, children and families, youth and young adults. What is it you hope for around ministry, the way that Pulse is engaging or the way that you're seeing ministry within the Synod develop and grow?
I want to meet more people. I want more people involved. I want more people at everything. We're trying to get the promotion out sooner and so that there's time for regos and there's engagement. We want as many people, young and older, to be involved. Come on the journey with us. Let us grow the church young. Yes. Let us grow young.
Please.
I could do with a bit of that. But
I've got a cream I can help you out with.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome, Joe. Thank you. Joyce.
I too just I want to continue the hopeful spirit of young people in our church, and something that I talk about with Joe. I want to create spaces in your own areas. Where can we gather as youth leaders together? Where can we gather as young leaders that support and nourish the spiritual growth of children? And what does that look like? And what does Girls Brigade? Oh my gosh, we need to have a conversation. What does that look like in these contexts? Like, I really want to get down on, similar to Joe, get down on the ground and really... All right, so we're all going to sit together and be like, let's share and let's be joyful and let's be hopeful together. And how does that grow?
Love that.
Inspire each other.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Love that.
Love that. Thanks, Joyce. Offa, what are you hoping for?
Hello. So we're in a space where we've seen a few applications from the Growth Fund come through and roles that
Yes.
have now been
Good pickup.
English words.
Applied for. They're not approved yet, but there's really a
Yes.
lot of warmth towards a bunch of them. Yeah.
And I think one of my biggest hopes is that with the scope of youth groups and spaces for young people in the church, that we have more applications and roles to be filled and to be
Yes.
paid for, hopefully, church, because these are important roles that we should be supporting.
Don't whisper that. Like, we should be shouting
Shout
that
that
from the
from the
rooftop.
rooftop.
That's true.
Preach, sister.
But we're part of so many conversations, and my hope is that they can, like, the follow through from those
they come
conversations.
They come to
Amen.
being, and that we've got the people to fill those roles,
Yeah.
and then we can resource them and train
Yes.
them and,
Yep.
And that's-
network them and inspire them,
Yeah.
and love them, and encourage them
It's
to get
exciting.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think at this moment, it's my biggest hope. I love that we are here as a Pulse team, that we've been resourced by the Synod to help resource others. My hope is that we can grow that so much more
Yeah.
Amen.
in
on the ground out
Yeah.
there.
future. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks, Offa.
Beautiful.
From a young adult ministry point of view, like I'm only going to paraphrase everything that you guys have all said. We want to engage with more people. We want to encourage more people to be a part of the stuff that certainly that Pulse is offering, but the broader other opportunities that pop up around. And when it comes to young adult ministry, there's actually a fair chunk of them that you can engage in and go and be a part of and do those sorts of things. The absolutely overarching stuff for me is the acknowledgement that we just kind of want to open the community to be wider. Like, if you're sitting back and looking at it and going, hey, Molk, I'd like to find a place in the young adult thing, but it feels very something. I would say to you, it's only going to stay that something while you're not in it. Like, we want to invite you into it, help shape us, help be a part of this.
Help us lead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lead with us.
Please. And it's actually, in fact, in your inclusion that it opens doors for other people, that it welcomes other people into it as well. Because, I can only give you, frankly, in my engagement with young adults, the stuff that I know from my experience and where I come from. I have lots of joy and engagement and love for all sorts of different people and cultures and gender fluidity and how all of the stuff fits into. I'm there. Very little of that is my lived experience. Yeah. I'm gaining and learning so much more by hearing from all of those people in all of those situations. Absolutely. Come be a part of it and teach us and lead us, and we want to amplify your leadership.
That was the other thing I was going to pick up earlier when we were saying, come to Synod. Contact us about any of these things.
Yes.
Yeah. Involvement or interaction or any questions, observations, feedback of any of this stuff. Yep. Get in touch with us, please. Make contact. We are happy to buy you a milkshake.
Yeah,
literally
sit in the sunshine and banter
and talk and journey with.
God is moving amongst us, and we can't hear it all. God is moving amongst all of us, all of you. Please, help. Work with us. Come on the journey.
If you can't see it or hear it, we are pumped, really excited to want to be engaged in this ministry and to be working with all of the people that we already know. We love them and we just want to see them succeed in ministry in ways that we can't even fathom.
Yes, sir.
And we know that there's a whole bunch of people that we want to grow new or develop better relationships with.
Yep.
And if for the same reasons, because all of this, absolutely, bottom line, is about us encouraging people and being a part of other people's ministry that sees young people come to know Jesus and grow to be more like Jesus every day. It's not because we want to have more bums on seats in anybody's congregation. It's about people being in relationship with the risen Saviour Jesus Christ. Bang.
Amen.
That's all I've got. Now, friends, if they want to reach out and contact us, Joe, there's heaps of ways that they can do it. Off, are you ready? Let's go. So if you want to reach out via old school email, it is contact-pulse@nsw.act.uca.org.au.
Very long.
Ding! Typewriter.
I don't even know how to use one of those. Sure. Ding.
If you want to hit us up on socials, we have a Facebook page, we have Instagram account, we have a TikTok account, we have a Twitter account. They are all the appropriate places at UCA Pulse.
Yes.
In fact, if you're listening to or watching this, same with YouTube, at UCA Pulse, and we're called the UCA Pulse Cast, if you're listening to it audiologically. Our website, pulse.uca.org.au. State of Flux connecting into the new Synod website, but certainly it's there and you can find stuff and find our contact details there really simply. And also, if you use the right suffix, it will get you to the registrations for things. So /UYC, /KCO when that's a thing, /YAG when we've got that open for registrations for those events. Check it out. We are available to you. And in more than some of those places, our phone numbers exist. Certainly mine's on the web everywhere. If you want to text, if you can't message, if you even want to pick up a telephone and audiologically talk to someone.
Well, people don't really like.
Mate, lots of people I do too, but they're usually the leaders, not so much the young people, right? If you want to talk to someone, we're here. We can help set all of that sort of stuff. We would love to hear from you. We would love to be a part of you because this, friends, is the #1 youth ministry podcast for the Uniting Church in Australia. Thank you for joining us for this first season. Now, a quick sizzler spoiler note. We intended for this season to be 10 episodes, our first season, 10 episodes of the PULSEcast. This is episode 9 for those playing at home. Episode 10 will happen.
Where, Molk? Where will it be? Who?
Well,
What?
Super secret squirrel special you're in on this.
Intrigue.
Sunday afternoon at the School of Discipleship, they have a time of question and response with the guest speakers. This year, it will be the very first live PULSEcast episode.
Oh, let's go.
Hosted by myself, Molk, and Offa. We're going to be speaking with Sati and John and getting them to sort of dive in a little bit more of the stuff they've been talking about and ask them questions as much as provide the opportunity for those who are outside to ask them questions. It's going to be so great. It could go for 90 minutes. It could go for 12. I'm sure there'll be more questions than that. We're really stoked that the School of Discipleship leadership team have allowed us to kind of walk into that and be a part of it. And we find that as a great privilege. We're really keen to amplify not just the questioners and their kind of heart in those questions, but also, of course, the message that Sadi and John bring to us.
Yes.
So a special first ever live PULSEcast
So good.
is going to be our special episode 10 for this season. Keep an eye out for it next week in your PULSEcast feeds. And then we're going to take a little break and then season 2 will kick off where I can almost guarantee you there will be another live PULSEcast event probably at the Synod in session because that's pretty much where I think it's going to happen. But there's going to be more. And we absolutely, not just while it's fun to hear from the Pulse team, we absolutely want to amplify your stories. So our focus for season 2 is going to be getting lots more guests on to get them to share some of what Jesus is doing in their life, to hear how God is at work in their ministry or in their opportunity or their vocation, and just what it means about how they as young people or how their work in ministering with young people is making a difference for the kingdom of God.
Yeah, great.
So great, right?
Love it.
It's going to be massive. We are stoked that you could join us. I've been Molk. That's been Joyce. That's been Offa.
Yeah.
That's been Joe. We're your Pulse team.
We are.
And we love Jesus. Bye.
Bye.